we're going to have a look at Isaiah chapter 10, and it's got a host of things in there. It's really split into three main sections. The first 4 verses, I'll just read the first couple of verses in there. Woe to those who make unjust laws, to those who issue oppressive decrees, to deprive the poor of their rights and withhold justice from the oppressed of my people, make widows their prey, and robbing the fatherless. And if you look at the church as a whole, you will find there are those who major on things like sexual immorality, particularly in these LGBTQ days, and there will be those who focus on social justice, which is fine, but the people who focus on the LGBTQ stuff tend to ignore social justice, and those who focus on social justice tend to ignore sexual immorality. And both groups have been utterly unbiblical. Because God, if you read the Bible, God is deeply concerned about sexual morality, and he is also deeply concerned about social justice. So, if we want to be biblical, we need to be concerned about both. Now, any one of us or any group of us may obviously focus on one more than the other. But it doesn't mean that the one that you're not focusing on, you say that doesn't matter. That's not the thing to do. That is not a biblical approach. So anyway, God starts off there by giving more of the reasons why he's judging his people, because they did not care for the poor or bring justice to the poor. Then there's another section in my Bible entitled God's Judgment on Assyria. It says, Woe to the Assyrian, the rod of my anger, in whose hand is the club of my wrath. I send him against a godless nation, which was Israel. I dispatch him against the people who anger me, to seize, loot and plunder. But this is not what he intends. This is not what he has in his mind. His purpose is to destroy, to put an end to many nations. And so it goes on. The key things there, first of all, Assyria was God's instrument. God used Assyria to fulfill his purpose. But that does not mean that Assyria was without responsibility. And Assyria variously in Isaiah is condemned, 1 for her pride, and 2 because of her lack of mercy. So, Assyria was being used by God, but Assyria was still responsible for her actions. And then, if we go down to verse 20, we get a bit which says, the remnant of Israel. And that seems a lot more hopeful. And in some ways it is. But not entirely. It says, a remnant will return, a remnant of Jacob will return to the mighty God. Though your people be like sand by the sea, Israel, only a remnant will return. Destruction has been decreed, overwhelming and righteous. The Lord Almighty will carry out the destruction decreed upon the whole land. So, there's no escaping the judgment. But the judgment is not the end of the matter. Because there will be a remnant. Then he says in verse 24, therefore this is what the Lord Almighty says. My people who live in Zion, do not be afraid of the Assyrians who beat you with a rod. Very soon my anger against you will end, and my wrath will be directed to their destruction. You see, the people were so focused on Assyria. And God says, you need to be focused on me. I'm the one you need to fear. I'm the one you need to get right with. Because God said he was going to defeat the Assyrians in a short while. says, in that day their burden will be lifted from your shoulders, their yoke from your neck. The yoke will be broken. Because you have grown so fat, and I don't know what that particular bit, what the significance of that bit is. Anyway, so the key thing there is, it's the almightiness of God. That He is the one we are to look to. He is the one we need to pay attention to more than anyone or anything else. So on that thought, I will leave you. Goodbye.